Creative Kill Live!
Welcome to the show where the lights go dim. Albuquerque nights, yeah, it all begins. From the Duke City streets to the ledges we ride. Everybody gets killed on Creative Kill Live. John Roberts on the mic, that's the host and creator. Wolf, Ben, and Dizzy, yeah, the squad, no debaters. Happy Anderson in the house, serial killer on the stream. Guests sit down, but they step into a dream. Brooke Smith from the silence, ghosts in the air. Talking Bigfoot stories like they're right over there. True crime echoes while the crowd's alive. Then the lights cut out, it's the end of the ride. Welcome to the show where the lights go dim. Albuquerque nights, yeah, it all begins. From the Duke City streets to the ledges we ride. Everybody gets killed on Creative Kill Live.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Creative Kill Podcast. My name's John.
And I'm Ben.
And guys, today we've got a really fun one for you. We got a new remote interview. Weren't you? Dude, this interview was awesome.
Yeah, it was, man.
I love talking to these guys. These guys out of Long Island, New York.
Right.
We got Phil Falcone, we've already done.
Yep.
And now we get Mike Levy. And I'd love to have Jason on too. Jason's his brother. We'll have him on, I think, next before we get our bigger ones going, the big Terrifier guys. Hopefully Phil's going to help us with those interviews once T4 is starting to come around.
Right.
But today is not a Terrifier day. Today is a stream day.
Right.
Dude, what did you think about this? That was a fucking badass film, huh?
Badass film, bro.
I told you the kills in it are fucking insane.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
They're also just like extremely, I don't know, just like raw and just
yeah.
Like,
it's a slasher film. It's a big
Yeah.
slasher film, and obviously you've got the big four slashers here.
Right.
It's like a game. Anyway, so our first guest, guys, this week, real quick before we do that, let's plug some sponsors, okay?
All right.
Why don't you take the first one, your favorite?
All right, Duke City Toys, Leo, my man. Thank you so much, brother. We always appreciate
right,
you.
Duke City Toys. Hey, we got to see if he's got some Stream toys, dude. I wonder
know,
if
right? That's true.
I don't know if they've come out with some action figures for Stream yet or not, but yeah, that was that's pretty awesome. And then so we got Duke City Toys. Then go ahead.
I was gonna say Crown Jewel and Coin.
Yeah, Crown Jewels and Coin. And then we have our new sponsor, which is Gator down there. Gator. And the Monster House Dispensary.
Yes.
Thank you guys so much for the
you.
Creative Kill Podcast. And then we're going to give our little quick shout out and segment to one of our banner sponsors that were supposed to be on for last year, but they'll be here this year for live. But I'm just giving them a little bit of an extra plug. And it's going to be Heights Lock and Key, HSI, Heights Security. Heights Security, speaking of this episode, they should have had some Heights Security at that fucking hotel, right?
Dude, I mean, they might have actually got out there alive. You know?
Yeah. I mean, there wouldn't have been fucking dudes running around in masks just fucking chopping people up, right?
I'm saying, you know?
Yeah. So anyway, guys, we want to jump on this, but so our guest today is actor, writer, director, producer. I love it. That's exactly what we do. Many hats. The hats.
This guy over here, guys.
Yeah, the
He knows
hats. The
better than
hats of
anybody.
many hats, right? Well,
Yeah.
you're a producer, actor.
Well,
yeah,
you
you've
know,
been writing
yeah.
with me a little
yeah,
bit,
it's true.
right?
It's true. Trying to see which one's
Yeah.
good.
We're gonna get him involved in some 66 business, not finding but killing. But yeah, no. So Mike. So I hope I don't embarrass Mike when I say this, because Mike he was a great guest, didn't you
Yeah,
think?
I thought so too.
Yeah, he's a great guest. He told us a lot about the Stream franchise
Right.
that they're doing, and we'll get into that with the interview here in a minute. I'm not giving away too much. But Mike and their company's called Fuzz on the Lens. And if you are a camera guy, you understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
You got to blow
definitely.
that shit off.
Right.
Fuzz on the Lens Productions. They helped produce the Terrifier series.
Yep.
He's produced a whole. I think they've been in film for a while. They're younger guys. I mean, I think they're younger than us.
Okay. Which is awesome.
Yeah. But you have Damien Leone I hope I'm not butchering your name, Damien. Well, your last name, but Damien Leone. Then you had Phil Falcone.
Right.
We interviewed Phil. We haven't interviewed Damien yet. And then this is Mike Levy, and you have Jason Levy. And Jason and Mike did this Stream franchise. And so right after the release of Terrifier, I think it was T2 or T3 in there, because I know this released a year ago or 2 years ago.
Like
Yeah. I went to go see it in the theater. You guys, I had told you about it. Remember,
Yeah.
I was wearing this T-shirt on one of our previous shows, and
Yep.
you were like, "What is that?" And I was like, "Dude, I had to go see the Fuzz Boys." And when we say the Fuzz Boys, that's what Phil Falcone calls Levy and Jason. from Fuzz on the Lens, but they killed it literally with this fucking film.
Yeah, hands down, man. Hands down.
Dude, that jacked up fucking killer. I don't want to. We're not gonna get into it just yet until we talk to Mike. But and then your guy, David. Yeah, David Howard Thornton. Dude.
David Howard Thornton, man. I mean, does a
David
phenomenal job.
He's a creepy little dude. And, I just talked to him. I can't tell you. So I gotta send you this fan film. It's called Joker's Wild. Okay, it's with David Howard Thornton. He plays the Joker. I got a little news this week. I don't think I can break it yet, but Morley called me. Morley, our boy Morley up in Minneapolis. Yeah, Morley called me and told me some news about David and him working together on a project, and I'm really stoked about it. Congratulations, Morley, on that.
Yes,
but back to stream. So Mike Levy again is a writer, actor, producer. This guy does it all, and then he has a scene in Terrifier. I think it's the first or second. He gets fucking killed by Arthur. He gets fucking jacked.
Yeah,
he gets fucking jacked. So I love everything, and the reason why I like these guys is because they really don't take themselves too seriously. Right. I feel like it's like. Now
they're like normal people.
Yeah, they are normal people, but at the same time, it's like it's inspiration that independent filmmakers like them become success like they are. So obviously, Stream is about to release on Prime, and so we're super excited about that. That's the big announcement today, and we're going to talk. You guys will see this with Mike on the show. But this is the introducer. So this is Creative Kill Podcast, episode 32, and it's going to be Mike Levy. All right, you guys stay tuned. Here we go.
What's up, everybody? It's John
and Ben,
and we're here on Creative Kill Podcast today, guys. And we are joined by Stream, the Stream franchise's own Mike Levy, the creator, director of the movie. Mike, I also wanted to say real quick. I looked at the credit list last night. You did a lot on this film.
Yeah.
That's how it is with low budget independent filmmaking. You got to just kind of any which way you can get it done. So a lot of times that means do it yourself or do it with a small team.
Yeah, a lot of hats for sure.
I didn't even. You edited the film too. I just wanted to be like, I looked at all of it. It was just like, wow, this guy's a one-man band, dude.
Right. I definitely wouldn't recommend doing that when you're like when you've written the movie and then you direct the movie and you have a small part in the film and then like you're just so super focused on like, it's hard to kind of like, you should take a step back and watch it with fresh eyes. Luckily, we have a pretty good system in place with myself and my two partners, my brother Jason and Steve Delasala. But, still going forward in a lot of other projects, I'm trying to like not edit as much, you know what I mean? And it just, I think, serves the film overall better.
Right. Okay, everybody. Well, this is Mike Levy. Mike is from Fuzz on the Lens, which I love the name of that production company. Man. You guys, because I dealt with a lot, blowing it up. And you're with Fuzz on the Lens. And so you guys are out of, where is it, Staten Island or Long Island?
That's correct. Staten Island, New York.
Okay.
Very cool.
And tell us a little bit about yourself, Mike. We just tell us your history of how you got into the filmmaking business. And
Sure. So I started at a very young age. It was like 3 or 4 years old. I could remember being very interested in movies, you know what I mean? And I remember watching as early as more comedy stuff in the beginning, like Dick Van Dyke. And I think seeing Chitty Chitty Bang Bang kind of had that horror element to it. So that was like at a really early age. And then kind of getting into Are You Afraid of the Darks and Goosebumps, kid-friendly horror stuff. And then graduating to like Leprechaun is like one of the first real horror movies I can remember. I have a really strong love. There's a lot of leprechauns I have around my office.
Yeah, and
I
was like, ooh,
right.
You can actually see one painted back there, and there's a few. And then obviously into Halloween 1978, Nightmare on Elm Street, Stephen King's It. So it kind of just evolved from there, but it was a really early on love of mimicking the actors and stuff on the TV, and then wanting to kind of like, how did they do that? And then getting into more behind the scenes as I got older, and still to this day have an extremely strong love for both horror and comedy.
Oh, right on. So we're both actors here in Albuquerque, and I don't know if you're familiar. We have a pretty big film hub here now, right? We've how did you get your start in? Were you union? Did you get your start in filmmaking like that? Did you start on sets? Can you tell everybody kind of how you got your?
Yeah, I just kind of took my mom's camcorder when I was younger and just started filming movies with my siblings. I'm one of 6. and the neighborhood kids. Yeah, and we would like make our own stuff, whether they were original or they were like parodies or sequels or like whatever of other movies that we liked.
Right.
I remember Back to the Future. We made a few of those, trying to just, being kids, figuring it out. I was always fascinated with how did they get the credits on the screen? And I couldn't, because, I didn't have any edit software. It was like you have the tape, you rewind it back if you make a mistake and you start. That was my editing. So I remember at a really young age taking my grandmother's typewriter and me and my mom taking a paper towel roll and typing up the credits and putting it on there and then filming the paper towel roll and pulling it so you can see the credits kind of roll. And then I went to high school and I ran my television studio. We had a television studio there, and I became the lead anchor, and I did a lot of content shooting with teachers and students. And then, went to college for television and film, and I got a minor in business. So it was always there, but it was mostly doing my own stuff. Obviously, then once I did short films and then YouTube was around and started doing some of those things and submitting to festivals. But it was in 2013, I had become an associate producer on a movie called Fear Clinic, where I played the young Robert Englund's character. Oh, God. It was like, that was everything I needed for like film school 101, beyond what I did in my studies was, seeing how it really operated, how I think it was like $1 million movie or $2 million movie, and like how that all kind of worked on like a bigger scale. And then it kind of just took off from there.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy because I do tell people both of us were not industry guys. We didn't go to film school and stuff. Well, we were actors, but getting on sets, I tell any young person, that's the most important thing. Get on a set.
Yep.
And whatever you're doing, just get on set and then just work. You learn every single aspect of the filmmaking process, because there's a lot to it, and over this last several years since we got started, it's like drinking from a fire hose. You
just learn. Look, there's only so much you can do when people are lecturing to you, right? Whereas you just got to kind of jump right in. I wish I would have jumped in earlier, like right out of high school to be on film sets and interning and stuff. But it was a little later that happened for me. But it was exponential, the growth and the knowledge and just seeing it, because it just clicks that way, and then also you're networking and you're making, connections, and there's different experiences that you're having, and you see how it really works under pressure, for sure.
Right.
No, 100%. Definitely. I mean, that's actually how John and I actually met. We met on a set, just hanging out, we're like-minded, and here we are, fast forward 4 years later, making a film together, and it's just, like building your parachute on the way down,
Yeah,
exactly.
It's kind of the way. Well, Mike, we always start off the show with what we call your final 3 questions, Mike, because every single one of our horror creators or actors or musicians, whoever, we want to know what you like, not what project you're kind of promoting. Okay, so our first question is, Mike, we asked you, what is Mike Levy's favorite horror movie? What's your all-time?
Very hard for me to narrow it down, as we were pre-talking a little bit. Is I'm a huge fan of the original 1978 Halloween. Obviously, there's Leprechaun holds a really special place in my heart. I don't know if you guys seen. I heard Lionsgate and Blumhouse, whoever has the rights to Leprechaun,
I saw that.
Yeah, they're looking for someone to kind of take the reins. It would be a dream project to do that. That's a movie, again, that really got me started, had that balance of horror comedy. I saw it at the right age. Stephen King's It, Tim Curry, Nightmare on Elm Street. It's those movies there that are my favorite horror stuff.
Yeah,
all the icons.
And I know I didn't give you a one
No.
It's very hard.
But back to Leprechaun, because we've already touched it. I'll tell you, we have a scoreboard, and Nightmare is our number one. Everybody always says Nightmare, right? Yeah. And then it's Halloween, then it's Friday the 13th, and then of course It. But on Leprechaun, what I love, first off, you said Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors.
Yep.
I love Dream Warriors. Dream Warriors was my favorite too.
Listen, you can't get there without the first one, obviously, and the first one's great. But Dream Warriors, I think, is when it all clicked on every cylinder, everything together. That is exactly what that franchise and that storyline needed to be. That's where, like, it had the most fun. It didn't jump the shark yet. You know what I mean? It didn't get too ridiculous. It was still grounded and scary, but you can see the fun and what you can do when you in a dream world. So I think it's like, it's one of those few movies, not just in horror, but I think across any franchise and any genre, that the sequel or third movie, whatever, got it right and better than the original.
Right. Yeah, it's always, and then it's so character driven with all the different kids in it, and then their imaginations when they do go over to the dream world. That kind of became so nostalgic for all of us because it was like, when you have movies back then like Goonies and Monster Squad and all of these, you're like, yeah, that's what we want as kids. We want to be able to fight Freddy Krueger in the dream world, And
it's a good subtext too, because what is it about? It's about empowering, right? And believing in yourself and overcoming not only obviously all the nightmares are overcoming your fears, but this one was taking it to another level and now actually showcasing those things to beat the demon, to beat the nightmare. I really think that was a fun movie, and that was a very pivotal movie also for slasher in general.
Right.
Almost definitely.
There's a lot of influence you'll see in our work through that, even with Terrifier 2. It's very, it was very influential to us.
Yeah.
Oh man, we'll get into that in the second half of the show. I'm gonna have a couple questions, but we mostly stream. But
right. All right, Mike. So tell us, what is your favorite horror villain
or creature?
Definitely. Freddy Krueger, I think, is like up there.
Yeah.
The Leprechaun. The Leprechaun. I have to go with him again. Yeah. I mean, and I think it's funny because I do love Michael Myers. Everyone does, right? The silent stalking killer. You see a lot of that in Stream. But I think there was just something when you have a villain like Freddy or Leprechaun, or even luckily now Art the Clown, where they have a little bit of a personality that can kind of separate them from the silent killers. I think that becomes so interesting, and it's hard to do because it could borderline being really super cheesy and I don't know, I'm a fan of the Wishmasters, but I don't think it really hit what Freddy did and even what Leprechaun did in my mind.
The Mask kind of the same thing too, right?
Right.
You kind of get there, and it's like, but Freddie and Warwick, or Robert and Warwick, stood out, man.
They did. They just, and now you can't imagine anyone else. Look, and not to take away what Lyndon Porco did with Leprechaun. He's a good friend, and even with Jackie Earl Haley, that was really tough shoot. That was really tough. Both of them to jump into those things, and respectively, they did fine, but it's very hard when you have someone like Robert and like Warwick who embodied those characters, literally became them, created them, made them so memorable through their charisma that just goes to show oh my God, no one could really ever, play, they can make more Freddys and Leprechauns, but it'll never be the same as what they brought to it. There's always going to feel it feels like bootleg a little bit. I don't know.
I know. Always, we got that on the Nightmare with whoever the guy who plays
Jack Earl. And look, and he's a good actor. It's just it's just hard because the original actor did it
so good,
and that was kind of, and it's unfair a little bit because it just happens. Like Lyndon Porco is a fantastic actor, and he played the Leprechaun in the newer Returns film, and then he did it for me in Revenge when we did the short film.
Right.
He nailed it. It's amazing. It's incredible. But you got fans that say, he's not Warwick, and I give him credit because he took it head on, knew that was going to happen, and did his own spin without copying, but also balance that fine line of paying homage. It's tough. I wouldn't say that. I would take on trying to do Freddy for sure, but it's tough.
Well, Mike, the third question for us is that, and this is one of our favorites. What horror movie scared, even from a childhood brought to now, what scared the shit out of you? What's lives rent free in your head? Right.
So for me, it was Stephen King's It, the miniseries.
100%.
I saw it at the right age, right? I was a kid. I was basically like one of the losers clubs, right? I was 7 or whatever. And I remember seeing Beverly, help me, Beverly, in The Drain. And for a long time, it stayed with me. And, now, obviously, in retrospect, we go back and watch it, and it's, it's cheesy. It's not as, it was made for TV, so it wasn't as crazy as the book was, and they could have gone. But again, Tim Curry's performance, he's another one.
Yeah.
There's no other, and Bill Skarsgård did great, but there's no other Pennywise. I don't care what anyone says.
Yeah.
Tim Curry is Pennywise, will always be Pennywise. There's just something charismatic about it that really shined. So it was that movie for sure that stayed with me. There's a few other ones like Poltergeist, that I stayed with, that I probably haven't even seen Poltergeist since the first time. I won't even put it on. I feel
we were talking to one of my actor friends. I don't know if you're familiar with him. His name's Happy Anderson.
Okay.
He was a mine hunter, right?
Oh.
He played Jerry Burroughs. He played the serial killer, and then he's done a ton of stuff. He's a big budget guy, but he's a big character actor. And he says he says Poltergeist. That's what ours and mine is too. It's like scared you so bad when you were a kid, you know, because we're 70s kids. I'm 40.
Have you seen a movie? It's another one that came to mind. There's two of them. I can't remember. One was Nightbreed. I think it's Nightbreed. Is that Peter Jackson?
Nightbreed. Nightbreed was awesome.
I can't for some reason, Clive Barker. I cannot watch that movie because it scared me, dude. I know if I watch it now, I'll probably laugh and be like,
I love that movie because it was a comic series.
I know that. I don't know why that. The images, I saw it probably way too young, and like, I would get the shivers like looking at the box, and so I haven't seen it since. And Damien Leone's like, you gotta go back and watch it. And then there's the other one, I can't remember the name. It's like really, is it Dead Alive? Dead Alive.
Yeah, Dead Alive. Yeah,
that's another one. And I know they're kind of horror comedy-ish, but those movies for whatever reason freaked me out.
Well, back to it, because let's go to your film Stream a little bit. But you got to work with Tim Reed from the miniseries,
right?
I mean, how was that experience for you, man? Was that kind of a dream come true?
And Tim Curry too.
I think I was going to say Tim Curry as well. Yeah. How was that, man? Because I know Tim's going through. I actually talked to Tim's rep because we wanted to get him on the show and help him out as much as we can because he's going through some stuff. But how is that working with Tim? I know it's just devastating.
It really is. You know, it was incredible. You know, we produced because it was so close to something that there's the nostalgia element. It's kind of, you know, these movies and these films shaped who I am. So when I had the chance to work on the It miniseries documentary, it was really cool. And that's where I met Tim Reed. And we kind of just hit it off. We drove to his studio in like Virginia and got to meet him and his wife. And it was really, really cool experience. And I pitched to him, hey, we're doing this movie Stream. There's a great role for you, this police officer. And he's like, no. He's like, I haven't done horror since It. He's like, you know, it's not really my thing. He's like, but let me read the script. He read it and he really liked it. He's like, you know, I don't know what it is. I want to do this. And that was really cool. And he just brought so much gravitas to the film, like, you know, legitimacy. And then as far as Tim Curry is concerned, you know, I wanted to work with him on my first film of Normal Attraction. And it was around the time he just had the stroke and that all fell through. So I kept in touch, obviously beyond the miniseries stuff, and was just checking in with his reps and him and seeing how he's doing every so often. Right. But again, it was a dream of mine to work with him. And then finally, when a role came around for Stream, you know, I was like, this might be perfect for him. The way the character's written, he doesn't have to do too much, but he can kind of shine. And he jumped on it. They were like, yeah. So I was like, oh my, I couldn't believe it was happening that they said yes.
Yeah, that's great.
And then we got to do it, and it was really cool. Like when I was with him face to face, he was almost in tears in a way. It was like, I can't believe you wanted to have me a part of this so much, and that you came out to meet me and do this. And I was like, what? I was like, I can't believe you said yes. I was like, you have no idea. Yeah. So like in between dates,
I want to be
go out, smoke, and like talk about his time on Muppets Treasure Island and It and Home Alone and Clue and like Old Legend and like all these great stories. Yeah. Like as a fan, I was just like so interested in, like, you know, I brought him a bottle of red Italian wine. He loves that. So I really I got to know him on a little bit more of a personal level, and it didn't disappoint. He is just as humble and just as charismatic. I keep using that word, but these are people that are. And he just shines, even though his unfortunate situation. His personality is all still there, and he's still got his great sense of humor, which is amazing.
Yeah, that's great. That's awesome, man. Because it really makes me feel good when they tell you don't meet your heroes, but then when you actually do meet someone and they're really, really freaking cool, it's like holy.
Luckily, the ones that I've met have been pretty cool. Like I know some horror stories. Won't get into names on. I
have some stinkers,
and it's such a shame when that happens. Look, I just try to, because like, you know, we're all people, and like, you know, I'm lucky now to have a little bit of success with what I've been doing, and I always try to remember, you know, the kid and the excitement, and try to give back as much as I can, because someone crazy to say, looks up to us like we looked up to the others. So it's like, if you could pay it forward, always do that.
Yes.
Never forget where you came from.
That's one of our things on the show, and we're going to segue into the Stream stuff here in a second. But on our show is we want to help promote indie guys. We want to help promote these people that don't get these huge, big. Trust me, we work for Netflix. I've been on the AMC. I was on Better Call Saul. I've seen the big budget stuff. They've got enough budgets to advertise. You know what I mean? So it's like these little.
That's what it is, right? We don't have any, like everything from Stream and Terrifier. That is all was
Organic.
word of mouth, organic.
Yeah.
Like us just pounding the pavement. I wish I had this crazy, but like there's so many people that say, I can't believe I've never heard of Stream, or when Terrifier first started picking up, oh, where'd this come from? And it was like, look, we don't have the money to promote it like the big studio movies do. So it's just pounding the pavement, going to horror conventions, sharing it on social media, meeting with people, doing interviews like this. It's so crucial for indie. And I try to do the same too. Like the one thing I'm most proud of, and I know this is kind of a little bit of a tangent, but the thing I'm most proud of that, we have done, and the accolades and all this stuff, yeah, it's cool, whatever. But it's that we opened up a door of opportunity, I think, for people to take independent movie and films seriously. Many great movies now that would have never been in the movie theaters now because Terrifier did what it did, including Stream. It would have never been in the theaters had Terrifier not done what it did. And that was a direct relation to us, but like so many other films, Screamboat too, so many other films that it opened up opportunity for, and now these filmmakers are getting noticed, and these films are getting attention to them because they're the most creative. That's the thing I'm most proud of that we were a part of doing.
100%. And I actually touched on that at the end of Phil Falcone's interview, telling him, I said, I think you guys kind of revolutionized the process for indie horror filmmakers, like just indie filmmakers in general, but you guys took something and you showed everybody that there is light at the end of this tunnel.
Right.
Like if you didn't know, I'm serious. If you take
I'm smiling because I feel the same. I feel the same way. Like we showed ourselves there was light because this actually worked. Because nobody sees the long hours before that.
I've worked on projects here that have collapsed, that were studio projects that didn't even finish, and stuff, because there's so many moving parts and all this stuff. But I think this, and then of course I got to tell you, because I was actually just talking to another guest about this, horror is still the redheaded stepchild of the film industry. No matter what, we're we're getting our accolades now with like Sinners and Weapons and all these things, Terrifier and everything that's kind of coming out. But where you look at it from an independent filmmaking point of view, I think the indie, look at what Iron Lung just did.
I know.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, this is the things. It's like Shelby Oaks. I've seen these projects that are coming from the internet or coming from minds of individuals that's just not these big studios, this IP. There's so many Screams. I'm going to see Scream 7. I'm not going to lie. I'll see it.
I say the same thing. It's like, look, we want more stuff. We want to see it. And look, there's a lot of Screams. There's a lot of Michael Myers. Look, I'm still going to be there opening night or close to it, sitting there excited.
Right.
But but there's room for both. There's room for that, and then there's room for these new up and coming filmmakers or horror movies or whatever to sit there and enjoy it. Look, even the ones we just talked about, mostly Halloween. Like no one remembered they were independent films.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And a lot of times, how many people do we know got discovered? Some stayed in horror, but others didn't, like Jamie Lee Curtis and Johnny Depp and Jennifer Aniston and all these major Tom Hanks, all these major stars started in horror because that's the only genre that you get an opportunity to get a lead role out the gate and potentially get noticed because it has that pop to go, So it's very crucial to the genre, to the filmmaking world in general.
So, Mike, let's jump over to our stories time segment. And instead of asking you like a scary story, I really want to get into the filmmaking process of Stream. So let's, first of all, you are, all this segued, we just talked about it because of Terrifier, right? The Terrifier franchise. Okay, you're part of that. Congratulations on that success. I'm a huge fan of it. Huge fan. I mean, I can't tell you how big. That's all I talk about on the show half the time.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I was like, you have to understand this guy when he says he's a huge fan. That's an understatement.
Yeah, I actually connected with Carrie McGuire.
Oh yeah,
you guys have a whole Facebook group dedicated. It's the Crown Appreciation Society, which is kind of involved into like this fan club.
It's so cool. Yeah, but that was how organic and this movement was. And also that was crucial too in getting people to learn about the film. Like it truly was this organic, boots on the ground movement, and it wasn't targeted to do that. It just kind of like, again, organically happened.
Yeah, it evolved.
And no one understands, like, there's a lot of people, I guess, in the studio world that like, Terrifier and Stream Now, like they kind of just pop up out of nowhere. No one understood like the years before of like literally, because we're fans, being with the fellow fans, talking about it, going to horror conventions, going to film festivals and all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you, now we're going to jump to Stream. First of all, I just told you before we were on camera, before we were recording, I'm a huge fan of this film. I love it. I love your guys' Fuzz on the Lenses film style. Yes. Ben never saw it. So I went over to his place last night and I screened it for him. And he was like, this is awesome.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
Yeah, man. 100%.
So let me ask you, how'd you get the idea? Like, when you wrote it, like, what was your guys's? So
as I hear My Girl or something playing, can you guys hear that?
No.
It threw me off. Anyway, sorry. So it was like 2015-ish. We were working on a film called Penance Lane. It was Tyler Maine's movie. It was an independent film. We just finished my first feature called Abnormal Attraction.
Yeah, I read that.
We had went down. Tyler was in it. Malcolm McDowell had a role. Gilbert Gottfried, Bruce Davis, and Leslie Easterbrook. We had like a really fun, cool cast for like the first film it was a horror comedy. So we met Tyler, and he had asked us to help him do this low-budget horror film called Penance Lane that John Schneider and Scout Taylor Compton and Danny Roebuck were a part of. So it was on that set, or driving down, we drove down to Georgia to shoot this movie that like we were coming up with this idea, the early stages of Stream. Always wanted to do a film that involved a family, wanted to do, obviously we love our Final Girls, but I really was like, I want to kind of do the 80s action way, but in a horror movie where you have like a dad like fighting for his family and like, kind of make the final dad, because it's something that I had never really seen before. So that's really how it started. And then it was like, instead of making it one killer, it could be a group of killers. Okay, why is it a group of killers? Oh, maybe they're competing in a game. And it kind of evolved that way. And the way we came up with the masks, which was pretty cool, is like we just we basically like reversed engineered, like, okay, what has worked and what is popular and how do we do something different? What do we love? We love Michael Myers. Okay, what is so great about that mask? It's this stoic, pale, emotionless face, as the great Ronald Pleasance had said, with blackest eyes. So we said, all right, let's now make our eyes light up. Let's add the tech into it. Let's make it modern. Let's make our masks, instead of rubber, let's make them carbon fiber and hard, because again, that's new. Instead of a single closed mouth and open smile. So it was like those little things that we kind of brought into it. We also were like, okay, what color are these eyes? Why are they lighting up? Oh, video games. Let's do the colors of the red, the blue, the green, the yellow, and the red, like multiplayer on the old, Xboxes and Sega and PlayStation. So that's kind of how it formed. And then at that time, 2016, cryptocurrency became this big wave, like coming in, and this tech and, the dark web and black market. And like, is it going to be regulated and good? Is it going to be something like, is it going to overtake cash? It was all this stuff that was kind of floating around. And Stream, little by little, it was all worked in and born. The main thing, though, for us was the best horror movies exploit our safe spaces, right? Everyone. 100%. You go back to Jaws, Day of the Beach, Halloween, The Neighborhood, right? Babysitting, Camp Crystal Lake with Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Your Dreams, so on and so forth. So we did, in this new movie, we said, we're going to exploit a physical space, which is like your hotels, kind of like what Psycho did a little bit, but a more, not like where in Psycho you're going, I'm never staying there. This is like a place you would maybe stay. Yeah, and it's like
it looks like.
We wanted to be this basic general, like obviously it has it's like the pool and stuff like that. But we wanted it to feel but we wanted to feel as like a normal kind of everyday hotel. But then the other element was everyone feels safe, but still questions technology. The government listening to me, is my Alexa hearing everything? So that's how Stream was born.
That's great. That's fantastic. So let's get into the killers real quick, and then we'll get into the rest of the cast. But player one is your brother.
Yep.
Is that correct? Yeah, Jason.
Yeah, Jason's player one, and he, was, again, we always kind of had this idea he was going to be one of the killers. He's a great, like physical actor. He's a really good he does a lot of voices and stuff too, which is funny. Like him and David Howard Thornton are very similar in like, their mentality and things, like very good physical, but can do, great comedic stuff as well. So we brought him on board, and then obviously it was a no-brainer working with David on the Terrifier series. We knew we wanted to have him part of this, and so it was really cool to get him to be player.
Yeah, players.
Yeah.
So, and tell me about, I don't want to butcher her last name, but Liana's player 3.
Paraglia. Yeah, Paraglia.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, because I tell everybody my killer, and I'm the butcher of names. Like I get them all wrong all the time. But yeah, and then you have Mark Haynes.
Yep.
How big is Mark, by the way?
Oh my God, he's huge. Yeah, he's like, I want to say he's like 6'6", 6'7".
Okay.
6'8", it could be 6'5". He's in that range. He's no less than 6'5", about 6'5", 6'8", in that range. So we'll say 6'6".
Yeah, your brother's he's pretty fit. And I got to tell you, at first when I saw player 4, I was like, is that his brother? And then
a lot of people think that, and then you see Hayes. I know, because Jason was especially then was like very in shape and very, very physically fit. Now he's kind of let himself go. But but Haynes is just like, then you just see Haynes and he's like a pro wrestler the way he looks. And that was a hard role to find though. That was a hard role to cast, because we knew we wanted the height, but you have to, even though you're in a mask, you have to be able to act, you have to be able to physically perform. He also needs to be able to maneuver. You need somebody that's coordinated, and a lot of times big guys aren't, unless you're a wrestler. And if you're a wrestler, then most of the time you're getting studio gigs or you're wrestling. You're not doing low budget. So it was really, and we got very lucky to find Mark.
Yeah, it's funny that you just mentioned the wrestling, because that's my other thing I love, and I've worked with tons of them out here in indie shows and stuff, but we just did a whole thing with TNA. It was this for wrestling promotion. They invited us to come because we helped Tommy Dreamer, and I got to tell you who we met. It's crazy. We met Tony Todd's sister.
Oh wow,
he's part of that production. Yeah. So Tony, who's in this film, and I'm going to mention that here in a second, but yeah, we got to meet, and so I did talk to her about Stream and his experience and you guys on that, and she loves you guys so much. Yeah, but it was funny because kind of how this world all ties in with wrestling and horror. That's what I tell everybody, because you guys had Chris Jericho in Terrifier. He's 2 and 3.
Yeah,
and then I got to tell you, we're a big New Mexico, or Albuquerque specifically, is a big UFC hub. We have a lot of UFC guys here. And so some of them try to turn actor too as well. So we're friends with Keith Jardine. We had him on our show. He just did a horror film called Kill Me Again. It's really good.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
It's on Prime. And then Tate Fletcher, who was in The Mandalorian, as the guy with the big beard and stuff.
Right.
And then we have, but then we have our wrestlers and stuff. But I always said, and I'm not shitting on the MMA guys, but the wrestler guys know how to act, dude. Those guys, like you were directing. Yeah,
they're performing. They're just performing all the time, because it's one giant movie. It's one script. It's a scene. You know what I mean? So they do. And that's why they transition so well. They built this brand up, right, where people know them and they have this persona and they're constantly performing. And then it's an easy transition.
Yeah.
And they bring their fan base. It's huge.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I got to work with Cena on, it's not out yet. Hold on. Yeah. Coyote versus Acme was the movie. Okay.
Oh, cool.
Warner Brothers shelved it.
Yeah.
And there was such a big, huge online petition to bring it out of, because they weren't going to release it. And then finally, it's Will Forte, John Cena, and then I forget who else. But I play a chief of Capitol Police in it, and John Cena, talk about a class act of an actor. Like, I got to work this one scene with him. That guy is amazing. And I'm a huge wrestling nerd anyway. He brought his belt, so I got a picture with his belt. But and that was the spinner, but he was like so professional, so nice. Every single one of them I've ever worked with, I have never had really a problem with any of the wrestlers.
No, they're cool. Guys, they're definitely, like, I worked with DDP, Diamond Dallas Page, Booker T
nice.
on the Penance Lane movie, because Tyler Mane was originally a wrestler, and he had he brought his friends on to work on Penance Lane. So yeah.
Yeah, so then you have, oh my gosh, this cast, dude. You got Danielle Harris. Let's just talk about, she's a big horror scream queen / We obviously know her from stuff like Halloween H2O or I think that's the one. But then
Halloween 4, and then the Rob Zombie one.
And then we had Daniel Roebuck. I love Daniel so much in this film. I got to tell you, the drunk.
Yeah.
He kills it. He kills it.
He goes, "You always make me play a drunk," because he was a drunk in Terrifier 3.
Right. He was. And
he doesn't drink. And he doesn't drink.
He always doesn't drink. Well, I got to tell you, the funny thing is, this line that resonated with me. And I think it resonates with every drunk man at some point where he's like, quit yelling at me in front of my friends.
Yep.
And they're like, we're your friends now. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
dude, that line I fought so hard to get, because that was like totally improv. And on the day, I died laughing at it. She's like, these are not your effing friends. And I'm like, this is gold. Because hearing Felicity Rose yell also is like comedy gold. And putting them together was like really, really awesome. If we didn't expect them to have that kind of chemistry, you know what I mean? And it was like, it just took off. Yeah. So yeah. And like that, there was a version of that scene where like, cause it was so funny. It's like 10 minutes long of just them bantering. And it was like, all right, we got to cut it down. Cut it down. One day maybe we'll release like bits and pieces of it, but that Friends line, I was like, this has to stay.
That was hysterical. And didn't you have Mark Holton, who I haven't seen in something. I've seen him, but he was huge in the 80s.
I know. Yeah. And then he like disappeared, he like semi-retired. And then I was a big, again, Leprechaun, big fan of him. And then he was in Pee-wee's, everything, Pee-wee's Big Adventure. And so we connected at a horror convention in Indianapolis. Like I got married, and the next like day or two after I got married, I went to this horror convention in Indianapolis. We left and drove. And so I met him there, and I was like, oh my God, like it was like his first show out, kind of feeling around, like didn't realize like there was all these fans that wanted to meet him. And I got him a drink, and we just kind of talked, and we really connected on like a personal level of just movies and like ideologies and like, just hanging out. And like, he's a funny guy. We became really close. And then I said, hey, we got this movie, we got this part. I would be honored to have you part of it. And he said, yes, very lucky. And then from there, our relationship has just got stronger and stronger.
Yeah, he's fantastic. And then obviously we said Tim Curry, Tony Todd. You kind of stacked the deck on this thing, man. It's like every time we turn around, we're like, oh, we know him. We never, that wasn't the initial goal of the film. Like, obviously there's a lot of these, like they call them the expendable of horror and fan service and stuff. Like that was never, like we always started with an idea of a script of like, okay, this is cool. And then being a horror fan, you can't help but like, want to recommend or see certain people that you grew up loving in these roles. And again, luckily, like we had the characters in the film because it's, there are a bunch of people staying at a hotel where they fit. It wasn't like we forced anything, even though some parts are smaller than others, none of them are real cameo-esque where there's like one line and they're gone. Like they're in the film for a decent amount, all of them. Obviously, again, bigger and smaller. But, it wasn't like we never forced to do that. It just kind of so happened organically. And Jeffrey Combs was like that's what we were just going to touch on next. He stole the show.
Yeah, Jeff was like incredible.
So great.
Yes.
Yeah. And again, when he read the script, what he connected with, and everybody, which was cool, they really connected with the roles because they're like, oh, we see you're doing this slasher film and it's really fun, but there's a lot of heart to it. There's still a lot of drama in it for a slasher film. Like there's the whole thing with the family in the beginning. Some people love that we did that. Some people didn't. They just want to kind of get to the goods. But for me as a filmmaker, I felt very happy to do that because now it's a movie. It's like there's like heart to it, and I think the payoff later on is so much stronger because of what we did in the beginning. Could it have been a shorter movie if we lost it? Sure. But at the end of the day, it's like, what are you trying to do now? Are you just trying to make schlock where it's just like no one cares and it's just whatever? Or are you trying to do something a little more with a little more meat to it and a little more, bones to it, which is what Jeffrey really appreciated. He's like, you're not just making this mundane slasher, even though you have the goods, you're doing more.
Yeah, it is. So, and then you obviously had, Daniel Harris, and then you have Charles that plays the dad. But I got to tell you, my other VIP is Wesley, the kid.
Yes.
He did fantastic. Yes. He was a great little actor.
He really did.
Was this his first big film?
So, like, we had cast him. My brother found him for Terrifier 2. He played the serial kid, the commercial. So he was. So he's the kid in the dream sequence that has the Art Krispies.
Yeah.
He has one line. Like, gee, I wonder what I got. But we had met him there, and we just kind of connected. His dad, Emmett's a huge horror fan. His mom's super cool, Karen, and like they're just great people. And Wesley was like again, it was such a small role, but there was so much. I'm like, this kid is really talented. Like we wish there was more for him to do in this. So I talked to them. I said, look, we're developing this other film. It's not ready yet, but it's called Stream. There's a lead in it. We'd love to. I think Wesley would be great. We'd love to see him, on tape and audition him for it. Yeah. And he killed it. Like it was like we gave him like 2 scenes. It was like the video game scene in the beginning where it's like, okay, he's just a kid. And then a later on scene where it was a little more emotional, like showcasing he's scared and then also like, crying or whatever. And he it blew us away. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, this kid, it's it. We're not looking at anybody else. It's him. This is great. So
he literally killed it. And so he's I always like to, because what our show name is that my thing is creative kill. I love the kills, right? So I want to get into some of this. So you guys went all practical, right?
Yep.
Everything's practical. Love it. Damien did the special effects, right?
And Phil, both of them, yeah.
And Phil, yeah. Yep. Yeah, well, I saw Phil at the end of the film in the party. Yeah. That's what we were like last night. We were like, there's Phil, Phil, and he's. But I got to tell you, my favorite kill, it's got to be Daniel Harris's, man.
Wow. That's Damien. I think that's Damien Leone's favorite kill.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, we get a lot. That one we get, and the 3 we get are that one, Tic-Tac-Toe.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, which I never expected people to talk about this one as much as they have. Like, I think it's really cool. I guess it's our most Terrifier-esque kind of kill, which is the arcade kill. Where a lot of people, the one that I think is most underrated is the drill eyeball one. That one doesn't get as much as I had thought. Like, it gets a great reaction where we see it, because I've seen it in the theaters where people, and they go, oh my God, and they I get the visceral response we hoped for, but like, I guess maybe because when there's so many kills, it's just hard to like, which one do you go to talk about? But like, that one I had thought people would have talked more about, I guess. But yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you. I was like, "Where can I get a Finbar's Funland video game like that? The joystick and everything on that." I was like, "This is
that's Jace. That's my brother was Finbar in the movie Abnormal Attraction that we did. That's where that came from. So this is like a little. Somebody made this for me. So his character, if you get a chance, it is the most. He steals the show in Abnormal Attraction, and we have some great. He plays this character like very. Filthy talking, inappropriate, like the amount of dick jokes in the movie, if you were to take a shot for every one, you'd be wrecked by like 10-15 minutes in. Like, it's insane. But it's a cool movie, and Finbar shows up in Act 2 and then stays throughout the whole film. That's why we ended up paying homage to a film that we had done before with that character.
Very cool. Right. That history like that.
Yeah. And then I love it. I told him also last night, I was like, the vending machine kill with the Tom's machine. I was like, I was like, do they still have those? The Toms?
Yeah, we found that. We found that on like eBay or something, or some guy marketplace where we were like, all right. And then because we needed a vending machine we could just destroy and break. And again, that was all practically too. Like we like pieced it all together like in post of like sections of the frame to make it work, where the actor is literally there, the thing hits, and we blow the blood out of the tube, and then in post you just put all the practical elements together. It's like the old trick in the book of just like cutting each thing shot, and it worked out fantastic.
Yeah, so let me ask you, so were you on location? Did you guys like rent a hotel for that whole thing?
We got lucky. Look, we took advantage of the opportunity. We shot the movie pretty much during COVID. So Terrifier goes on pause. Terrifier 2, we're almost wrapped. We just did the Clown Cafe big scene with all our actors, and then the world gets shut down. We had maybe like 2 scenes left to shoot. One was the alley kill, and which is the bedroom kill, and then some other one. So everything goes on hold for months. We don't know. So in that process, because we're home, we're now finishing up Stream, developing it. We had some money already ready to go to shoot it. We got the rest of it. And we're like, when everything opens up, we'll finish Terrifier and then go right into stream. And that's exactly what happened. But because it was still COVID, like no one was traveling, no one was going anywhere. So we found this hotel in the middle of Gettysburg, and they were like, yeah, you can basically have the hotel to, host your cast and crew to stay here and shoot. So we literally would like have the lights up, the cameras in the hallway. We'd go to bed, we'd roll out of bed, and we'd start shooting. And so it was actually a really fun, like kind of summer campy experience. And we ended up creating a bubble for ourselves because like we were doing all the testing and everything. And eventually though, once we were there for like 3 weeks, now no one's leaving. Everyone's just there. So that was pretty cool to like, know we were safe at that point and then kind of, forget the outside world and just focus on making this movie. So we took advantage of the situation the best.
You're the second filmmaker we've talked to. So there's another filmmaker out of Minnesota. His name is Morley Nelson. He did a film called Uncontained. It's on Screenbox as well. But he shot his whole film during COVID. And it's like, you're the second one. It's like there was some people that got to shoot stuff during the shutdown. It was very scary and crazy. Like, I think we went into production. So COVID hit, when did COVID, like, it was like, what was it? Like May or April, February. It was like February of 2020. Right. And then we shot stream. It was a few months later. It was January, 2nd, we went to shoot. So it was a few months later of 2021, right in. There's no vaccines. There's no anything. And they're just kind of opening up. It's like Tom Cruise just went to start shooting the Mission Impossible, right? And we were like one of the ones to go shoot. And but it took a lot of our post budget because we just had enough to make the movie. And now it's like you need to have PPE and HEPA filters and COVID compliance officers and testing and all of this crazy masks. And so as if making movies isn't hard enough, you add this. So we just pulled from our entire post budget. Let's just shoot. We got to shoot. We got to shoot. So we shot. And then that's why we opened up an Indiegogo campaign afterwards to partly market, to let the fans kind of like be a part of what we're doing and showcase the movie a little bit, but really to recoup the funds because we couldn't finish post-production on the film. Luckily they came through and we were able to get it done. You guys have, and let me tell you something, you have some great fans, man. It's like your fans that are fans of your guys' whole brand, the Fuzz on the Lens brand, Terrifier Stream. It seems like they're all in, and I'm one of them. I'm all in.
No, thank you. We're very fortunate to have a very strong fan base that will follow us into the fire of whatever we're trying to do. And we don't take that for granted because for us, there's the pressure of we don't want to let our fans, you guys, us, we don't want to let anybody down. So every time we try to up the ante, pun intended, stream, we try to just constantly do our best and constantly try to put out the best quality of work that we possibly can and continue to keep growing because we have that motivation of, you guys keep showing up for us. So we want to make sure that we keep delivering for you. And that is on not just myself, but Phil and Damien, Jason and Steve and George and Marcus and everybody, Jamie, that's a part of the whole team. It's all of us. It drives us. It motivates us.
Have you guys, and I've heard rumors, and I don't take anything for granted. I don't believe anything, half of the shit I read on Instagram and all this other stuff. But do you guys has big studios ever approached you guys of doing something that's obviously I heard that they wanted Terrifier. They wanted to buy it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true that they talk with Damien and Phil about doing Terrifier 3. But it wasn't them that turned us away. Damien turned them down because they wanted too much control. They wanted to reboot the whole thing. They wanted to make it maybe just R, I think. That means a lot of what is the heart and soul of Terrifier. And look, not every horror film needs to be as gory and as crazy as Terrifier. Even with Stream, there's gore, but we didn't go as crazy, mean-spirited, filthy as we do with Terrifier. It's two different movies. So that is what makes Terrifier. So that is what the fans expect to see. So Damien felt it was a disservice to our fan base to go and do that and kind of sell out, so to speak. So he put a lot which I give him a lot of credit because it could have been easy to just take the paycheck and run. But he has integrity. We all do. And it was just like, no, I'm going to bank on myself. I'm going to do what I set out to do initially and deliver the movie that I want to make for the fans. Now, that's not to say
going to open up other opportunities.
Yeah. And it's not to say Damien Leone won't do a studio movie down the road, but then it'll be a different, like that'll be that movie's thing. And it'll be a different thing that it makes sense. Like Damien is an incredible filmmaker, and I can't wait for the world to see what he has to offer outside of the Terrifier universe and working within those parameters of the studio as well, because he is very, very smart. He knows his stuff. He's the real deal. You know, just being around him, I see it, and being a close friend of his, you know, we talk movies every day. And so I think the world is going to be really surprised in what else he has to offer. And I can't wait to see that as a fan of his, you know.
Okay, well, so then I'm going to ask this question to kind of wrap up this segment. What is the future for the Stream franchise? Are we getting a sequel? I mean,
yep. So we just announced a sequel. We're doing Stream 2, and we have some things that are going to be announced pretty soon in regards to you know, how it's going to unfold. But we did attach David Howard Thornton is going to be a part of it, and we're actually Damien Maffei is coming back as well, and we also just announced that we are writing it with Brian Quinn and Joe Imbergio of the Impractical Jokers.
I did see that.
Yeah, so Q is a huge horror fan. Obviously, he was a part of the Victor Crowley, that whole Hatchet. Yeah, he's in that. He's in one of the films with Felissa and Dave Sheridan. And Joe Imbergio is one of the writers on the Joker. And he also is a big horror fan. He's going to be directing his first horror feature outside of his own thing. So, like, these guys get it. They really enjoyed Stream. They got what we were going for. They understood the pulse of the film. They understood what we were trying to do with it and what the fans resonated with. So when it came time of doing it, again, we wrote the first movie. I didn't want to write this one, physically write it. You know, we want to kind of just keep growing and expanding. So we had the idea of what we wanted to do, where it was going. Talked to them about it, and they were like, yeah, can we take a crack? And the script is really, really fun. It's really cool. We up everything, and I could just say it's high octane. It's a fast, thriller, crazy ride that I can't wait to bring to the screen.
Hey, Mike, just real quick, you have 2 actors in New Mexico that would.
There we go.
If you need like 2 cops,
I love it. Right.
We're your guys.
Very good.
That's fantastic. Well, in our third segment, everybody, we like to do what we call our helping with horror moment. Okay, where one of our big things here in New Mexico is because our community, you know, we're not the wealthiest state in the world, and we have all kinds of people that we help out with our service here. We've raised a ton of money for people here in Albuquerque and charities, but I started this next thing with one of our sponsors who's really great, Duke City Toys. Thank you, Duke City Toys, by the way. Shout out to Leo. But we're doing this helping with horror moment where we allow our guest to pick a charity of his choice, and we're going to donate $500 to that charity. So Mike, can you tell us what charity you're picking?
Yeah, so it's great that this kind of, you know, that this whole thing kind of came up for this opportunity. So there's the Sansone Foundation. It's the Media Center Fund. It's through St. John's University, which is the college that I went to. And this organization, they actually give back to to their community to kind of help the arts and to help the media center and to help, you know, kids be able to, you know, go to school and do this kind of stuff. So they had nominated me just recently as like Johnny. They're called the Johnny Thunderbirds is their mascot, Johnny of the 21st century. So, you know, it was something that I wanted to do again, is don't forget where you came from and kind of give back to the community. So this is something that I think is really, really cool that this opportunity had come up, and I'm very happy to pick that as my.
We just enjoy, man. I mean, we kind of touch on something every show that just gets light out to people. And I love that organization. When I read about it, that's great, because I really feel like younger people, you know, especially in this digital TikTok era and all this stuff, they don't really understand, like they want to get into the business and they see it. And I've ran into it a ton I'm 49 and I've casted some younger people and they just think everything's TikTok, you know? And I'm like, no, go to film, go study film, go do film. Yeah. This is not what filmmaking is, you know, where it's a great platform to advertise. It's a great platform to build.
Yeah, it's a great marketing platform. It's a great brand like brand platform, brand deals, commercial and stuff like that to get yourself out there. But it's a totally different medium. And I think it obviously everything's hand in hand. It can help films and films can help them and get more exposure. But it is two totally different lanes that, you got to kind of respect them as separate things. But if you want to get into filmmaking, it's definitely not that. And I'm kind of learning that side of it now. And I'm just like, it's so different. And
that's the younger generation. Like I meet younger filmmakers here that go to, there's some kids that we've worked with from the University of New Mexico, UNM, and they're filmmakers. They're not, you don't see these guys on TikTok and stuff like this. I just had this kid, he's one of my little DPs I hired. He came from Vermont. And Ethan. And so we had Sting, the wrestler. He came here and we helped promote the Duke City Toys, who's our sponsor. They had Sting there for a signing event. And this kid shot this promo video for us. And I'm directing it. I didn't even really need to direct him, but it's great to see young men that are in their early 20s that really want to do this, and that take the reins themselves. I met this kid on a Craigslist ad. It was like,
dude, there's a group that we work with. We collaborate with them a lot. They're talented. They're like what you're talking about. But they understand the social media as well. And it's like, they know how to separate it and they know how to like fuse this. They're called Seashell Productions. They're local Staten Island guys. They helped us on Stream. They helped us on Terrifier. We just collaborated with them on a feature film, a comedy movie, actually, like one of those, like, no holds bar, no apologies, cancel culture, come after us kind of comedy, like back to the raunchy kind of fun movies that like they're not making anymore. So we shot it over the summer, and I'm super excited for that to come out. It's their first feature film. That's our movie with them. We collaborated, but their content on social media is so good. But they put the effort in to almost make it like shoot it like it's a film. Like they go in, they light it, they have script, and even though it appears as if it's like this, kind of TikTok-y quick, like kind of thing, like the amount of effort that they put in, they study these guys and they care. And it's like, that's a really cool balance. And like, they're super talented. So I want to just give them a plug. Like they're awesome.
Yeah, for sure. Well, they, and then just a real quick before we wrap this thing up, it's like they're, I'm seeing all this shit on, and I get the vertical stuff and we're going to play with it a little bit too. But at the same time, it's just kind of like, I wish people would get off their phone more. And go
I know it's such a different world, and I know, like, there's vertical movies now, right? And it's
I just read this thing where Disney is now on their TikTok channel. They're just taking their movies, guys, and then just cutting them into 3-minute clips, and then having people watch it, the whole movie, like High School Musical and stuff like this. Right. And I'm just like, I get it, it's a new platform for people to watch and do stuff, but it's like the phone. When I went to go see Send Help, right? I was the only person in the theater. It's like, it's, and I know I'm going on a Tuesday midday, but at the same time, where I used to see, at least 15, 20 people in there because it's discount day or whatever during the day, there's nobody in there anymore. And the theater experience to me is so important because it's community. And I think that's like even behind Terrifier, when you guys got this awesome release, you went into a theater, we saw what you guys did, and it was just like, and then it builds this thing. When I went and saw Terrifier 2 the first night, it was sold out, the whole thing. Like everybody was there. Terrifier 3, same thing, boom, and it's that when we're all leaving the theater together going, oh my God, that was amazing.
No, it's an experience, and you're reacting together, and like who's like cringing and who's vomiting and who's running out, and it's a great thing, and it needs to stay, and thankfully we have horror films to do that, because I think between horror, at least in the indie and even the studio, and then you have, I guess, the only thing that's even comparable is like the Marvel comic book superhero stuff, right? Yeah. It's a good thing we have those two things, because if it wasn't, no one's going to see, but no one's going to see these other films, and it ruins, like, that the way these things are being made now, which stinks. Right. Like, everything's being made for the
small. I tell people, I'm like, trust me, watch a horror movie in the theater versus on your phone. Yes. The experience is a million times
better. And the sounds, I mean, the light and the mood.
You're there. Yeah, that's why you're there to get. Anyway, well, everybody, this is Mike Levy. Mike, we want to thank you for coming on Creative Kill Podcast today, man. You are awesome. I've been trying to get this interview for forever. But man, I want to tell you guys real quick the same thing I told Phil Falcone. when I started my filmmaking journey, we started writing our script, and we had this great thing that we're producing this year. You know, it was you guys that gave me the light of hope that we could do this. Okay. And I see the way the fans react to you guys. I see you at the cons. I see you doing all this grassroots stuff. And I really believe it has heart behind it. And we want to thank you for inspiring all other filmmakers in this industry right now, because you know how bad the industry is, like we do, right? It's just dying. It's like, it's really sad to see what's happening, especially in California. You know, we're going to head out to Burbank next month. And some of the people that we're meeting with, I've talked to them, they're not working at all, you know, and it's like, it's sad. So again, thank you, because us being an indie filmmaker trying to make the similar brand as you guys, you know, it's like everybody sees this like, oh, these guys want to do film. They want to make stuff. They want to keep going. You guys showed us how to do it. You kind of did the blueprint, is what I tell people. You know, if you got a crowdfund, if you've got something good, but build the brand, you know, keep building on it. And Art the Clown, man, I got to tell you, I didn't ask any Terrifier questions because Phil told me the last time that you guys aren't going to talk about it. But I know Damien's still maybe in the writing process. Is that where we're at still?
Yeah, he's still writing. Yeah, he's still writing the script. It's coming along. It's really crazy. You know, don't know much. He's keeping a lot of it under wraps. Know very little, but from what I do know, it's gonna be a wild ride. So, and what else can you expect from a Terrifier movie?
Okay, and when is the release on stream going? Isn't it going Prime? Is it?
Yeah, stream is coming to Prime very soon. Waiting on Amazon to give we have an idea of when, but we haven't promoted the date yet because we're waiting on Amazon to confirm the date. But it will be very, very, very soon. Hopefully they'll let us know so we can start pumping out when it.
Let us know too, because we'll help you, man. We'll help you get the word out. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate that.
All right, Mike. Well, thank you for coming on Creative Kill. Mike, we always tell our guests one last thing. You ready?
Ready.
Mike, you're one of the lucky ones.